Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Gold Mythic Noor, who is going to be the Battle Pass character award for Mythic Battle Pass 14. She is going to be in the Battle Pass on the follow-up from the Scotsman, and visually she's not too similar to her previous version in the S-Class era. She's very high vis right now. She's got a high visibility jacket on. She does seem to be a medic as well when it comes to her actual visuals, but she is actually a medic in the game as well, and she is much more of a defensive character. I'll say that. Her S-Class version was extremely offensive, so very different, not too many similarities. However, there is a small nod to the S-Class version. You can see on her right hand she has got like a knuckle duster there, and if you remember, the S-Class version did have the knuckle dusters effectively as the weapons. Now we see on the left hand side she's still wearing that jacket, and we can see this is the art that was kind of teased on the calendar. It was impossible to guess who it was. It was impossible to guess who it was. I did see some people say it was could be like a different version of Sam and Tom because it's the only characters we could think of too. This is just some random dude. I will say it looks too much like Sebastian Milton. But now I'm not going to get into it. Now, if we look at the stats, she has got at level 1440 LB3, she has got 15,354 attack, 26,869 defense, and 34,546 HP. She is an alert character holding a pistol. She is considered a medic role, and obviously a mythic character, and she is going to be joining the Road to Survival 2 Allegiance. I believe at least Nick is there, maybe Arav as well. So that Allegiance is just getting boosted a little bit. So we'll go across and look at her Adrenaline Rush, and it is called Trauma Surgeon. It is a 66 AP cost rush, and revive 2 teammates with 75% of their max HP. 3 enemies get 20% of this character's max HP in trauma for 2 turns. So 2 parts of this. The first half, the actual revive is very good. 75% of max HP is extremely high. She is an alert character. She could potentially be used on PAM teams, and PAM teams have high, potential HP. This is going to be very beneficial for anyone she does pick up in those scenarios. The second part is again going to be very, high, because she's going to have high HP just based on her own stat. If she is behind a PAM lead again, even higher. And I will say other parts of her kit are going to increase her base HP as well. So this 20% trauma is actually going to be pretty high indeed. And you guys know how trauma works. We're seeing a little bit more of it come around. When she puts trauma on an enemy, if they resist anything after that, they will take that amount of trauma in actual flat damage. And do remember as well that trauma stacks. So we do have a couple of characters in the game right now. We have Mateo and Wanderer that came in with trauma. Now we have Noor. Noor's a bit more defensive though. Wanderer and Mateo are a bit more offensive. But you definitely can use Noor on an attack team just because of this potential. And it could potentially be quite a lot of trauma that comes in because of this. Okay, so it's the beginning of my turn, and I can just select an enemy. And I have got 2 teammates that have been down, so these characters will get revived. And if I just do the Adrenaline Rush, you'll see the rush come in, my teammates will be picked up, and trauma will get laid down. And you can see my HP has been boosted quite a bit, 58,000. It only takes the base HP, it doesn't include bonus HP, but that's 11,000. Obviously, the higher you get that base HP, the higher this amount of trauma is going to be. It does go to 3 enemies as well, and like I say, it does stack. So if there are any other characters that come out that do trauma, it isn't like you're going to have someone override someone else, they'll just stack together. And I know what you guys saw. You saw that she had very high HP when she didn't have as high HP previously. And the weapon she had didn't give her any HP. Well, we'll have to stay tuned to see why she's getting that much more HP. If we look at the upgrades on that rush, you can see that at grade 3 it gets +1 to revive targets. So initially it's just a single target revive, but grade 3 isn't too hard to come by. You only need 1 version of this character. Grade 5 would need the 2, and that will go from a 25% revived HP up to 75% revived HP. This is actually going to be really important. 75% is nuts. But again, grade 5, not too crazy, not too hard to come by. You're going to be able to get 2 copies of this character just from running the battle pass, so you don't even have to buy the key for that. However, if you do want to utilize the trauma, you will have to pick up that key, or get fortunate in the future on how this character is going to come back around, which will take a little bit of time, guys. LB2 gets +2 trauma targets it goes from 1 trauma target up to 3, and that's actually a pretty big boost, especially if you get that HP number up massively high. 20% of her HP means you basically dictate how powerful this is going to be. And again, like I say, she wasn't getting a HP leader there, so behind a Pam with an actual HP weapon, she could be fully built HP as well, just HP on HP on HP, and she is going to be absolutely crazy. She's absolutely crazy. So yeah, there's high potential for this trauma to get into like the 30,000s per resist. That is going to be 30,000 damage. Now it is on the adrenaline rush, so it is a bit more balanced. It isn't like it's on a signature move and then basically you can one-shot characters off of turn 1. It is going to take a little bit of time to get this rush up, but once it is up, it's problems for whoever has it on them. I like this rush quite a lot for sure. This is going to work on defense and attack, so you could definitely use this character as like a support character on an attack team that's still going to have viability, because you could still build this character defensively for your defense team and they'd work just as well on attack just because it's HP. They maybe wouldn't get as high HP, but it would still work for sure. Now we'll go across now to Noor's signature move, and it is called Neck Brace. It has got an initial cooldown of turn 1, cooldown of 2 turns, number of uses unlimited. This character gets 50% decapitation resistance for 3 turns and 50% halo for 3 turns. So this is really powerful, of course. This means that if she does get crosshaired or hit by someone with decap and gets taken down, she has a 50% chance to effectively resist that decap scenario. Very powerful indeed. And if she does resist that decap scenario, or if she's taken out by someone who doesn't have decap, she will then be revived the next turn just based on the fact that she has got 50% halo, and it'll be 50% of her HP. And I will say she's very much a HP based character, so if you get her HP up to like 100,000, she'll be revived with 50,000 HP. Very nice indeed. I think most people will be pretty happy with this signature move. It is a non-attack based signature move as well, so she's not got no chance of like being controlled by hitting the wrong character off a defense team. There aren't too many controlling weapons that people use on attack, but you're not ever going to run into that issue, but you know, so it's actually pretty decent here. Okay, so we'll start the fight, and I've got that first turn signature move. It doesn't matter who I target. I'm not going to actually target anybody, and I'm just going to use the signature move, and you're going to see me get halo for 3 turns, and you're also going to see me get that 50% decap resistance for 3 turns. This is going to basically increase her survivability chances on defense teams. And obviously, if she isn't the last person taken out, she will revive at the beginning of the next turn. You know how Halo works. There are a couple of characters in the game with Halo. Very powerful as an ability. And the 50% decap resistance is nice. It doesn't stack, obviously, with anything else. If there is any other sort of decap resistance that comes into the game, it will override this, effectively, if there's anyone who basically gives her a decap resist. So it's just worth noting that they don't stack together in the future. But it is still nice. If she has crosshairs on her and gets taken down, it's a 50% chance she's going to effectively not get decapped. And then if she gets absolutely wrecked by someone, let's say, like Titan, again, 50% chance that she's not going to get decapped. Now look at the upgrades on this signature move, and you can see at grade 2 it gets -1 to cooldown, so it goes from a 3-turn cooldown down to a 2-turn cooldown. At grade 4 it gets an upgrade where it gains 50% halo for 1 turn, and that obviously is going to be just an introduction where the halo is going to be added. It does look like the decap resistance is going to be in there from the start, from the 50% decap for 3 turns. At limit break 1, you're going to get +2 turns for the halo duration. This is actually quite important. That means there's going to be no downtime on the halo duration because of the cooldown. So she'll always have halo as long as she doesn't get heavily controlled, and she can actually get this off when she needs to get this off. And at LB3 she gets -1 to starting cooldown. Again, I'd say this is quite important because it goes to a turn 1 initial cooldown, and that does mean you can get that 50% decap resistance in very early. Also the halo getting in very early as well is very nice. Now she is going to have quite heavy survivability based on some other things in her kit, but this is just adding to it, and I definitely say this pushes her even more towards the defensive side of things. I like this signature move. It's basic, but it's doing exactly what you want to do. You want to increase her survivability. You want her to be, I guess, kind of ignored as less of a target, and people want to, you know, to leave her till last. Now you can steal these buffs away. You know, these are 2 buffs, and Ransack does steal 2 buffs. But if you have extra buffs on your team, like for instance she is alert, so you can put her in an alert team and have alert buffs with a defense bonus, Ransack doesn't, you know, guarantee any particular buff gets stolen. It will just steal random 2 buffs, so you can potentially not steal the halo and she gets taken out. and well, you're going to be in a loop at that point. So it's pretty nice. I like it. She's going to be very heavily used, so you've got to be very used to this this signature move right here. And the reason she's going to be so heavily used is partly because of her mythic abilities. These are her passive skills, and she is a medic, so she gets spirit. That means 20% of all the healing she does grants bonus HP. So like for every 1,000 heal, she gives 200 bonus HP. The next one is she's going to get a 70% max HP boost. This is very much like Tara. Is also like Peacekeeper as well. Same sort of deal. So very high HP potential on Noor here, especially as one of the highest HP leaders in the game is an alert lead. So yeah, she's going to have nuts HP. Now this is where it gets good. Always prepared at the start of each wave and turn. Heal this character by 70% of their max HP. The reason this is so powerful is because her specialist skill is Overheal 2. This is why she had massive amounts of bonus HP in those little examples that I was showing you before. There's no way to hide it. There's no way to hide it. She's just going to have bonus HP off the start. It's going to be massive. And because she's got such high base HP, she's going to be giving massive amounts of bonus HP to her entire team. This is going to kind of bring up the viability of certain characters. I did see some people complaining about the initial survivability of certain characters like Rosie, for instance, whereas now Rosie is going to potentially have double the HP that she would have had otherwise. It's going to be very nice. It's going to be very nice indeed. Now the next passive is called Staying Alive. At the start of each turn, 80% chance to heal one other teammate for 50% of their max HP for the rest of combat. Now, if you understand how the healing system works in RTS, this is going to happen at the start of her own turn. If everybody's max HP, because obviously everyone's got max bonus HP, it'll heal one of two characters. It'll prioritize characters with infection, which means she's going to have a good team up with certain characters who are susceptible to that sort of thing. I think Peacekeeper, that sort of thing. She hasn't got a leader that's actually going to work with her. She'll have to use a Rainbow lead for the Peacekeeper team up for now. But there could be like a range leader that comes out in the future. But if there's no infection, the person who it should focus in terms of just giving the HP to, it should be her. And that's because of her Overheal 2. And that means then she's going to be getting 70% from her Always Prepared passive, and then another 50% from her Staying Alive passive, making it 100% heal. And that obviously will stack up, so she can potentially get 100%, 150%, 200% per turn, and then it will stack on top, so it could be like plus 70% from Always Prepared. And if you know how Overheal 2 works, 50% of any healing she receives over her max HP is given to bonus HP to her entire team. It's actually going to be potentially crazy how dangerous this is. We're just going to check it out. I'm going to just show you exactly how it works from the start. You're going to see lots of bonus HP get given to her teammates here. Now, I figured the best way to show you Noor would be behind a Pamela team, and you can sort of see the kind of HP she can get. This is without mods. This is just 35% HP on the weapon. This is with her maxed out, obviously, on the rest of her kit, however. And what you're going to see is massive amounts of bonus HP come in to her teammates because of this. Now, we're using the same team on attack and on defense here, just to show you how it works with the bonus HP. So we're going to start the fight, and on the attack team and the defense team, you'll see basically she gets double the bonus HP on attack than she will on defense. And the reason for this is because that passive that gives HP at the beginning of every wave and turn gives it both at the wave and turn on the attack team. So you'll be able to get huge amounts of bonus HP on the attack team. Look at the numbers of her bonus HP in the bottom left hand corner right now. It can't even print it. It's going into second line. It's just crazy. Now on the defense team, they haven't got as high bonus HP here, but you can manipulate this with like 110% incoming healing, that sort of thing. And as I said, we saw the 50% heal proc, and who did it go to? It went to her, because she's the only one who can actually get a bonus from actually being healed. As everyone else is max HP, there's no infection, so it will prioritize her with that heal. Now remember, this is a buff, so it can get stolen away. And if we just defend on all my characters, what will happen is it will go to the enemy's team. Even if she's stunned, this is actually pretty good. If she's stunned, it doesn't matter. It will go to the enemy's team. And what will happen is she'll get 70% healed, and she'll potentially get 50% healed as well on the heal over time. Does she get? Yes, she did. There we go. And then you can see the full bonus HP comes in again. Now I would have potentially done some damage on that first turn, but you're seeing massive amounts of bonus HP come in, and this is just going to increase the survivability of certain characters. And that's why I use Preach on this team, because in one of my previous videos I talked about Preach, and one of the things I said is his survivability is going to be pretty bad, but this is pre-fight survivability, and that's really powerful. Pre-fight survivability is one of the most powerful things. Bonus HP, control, that sort of thing. Before your enemy gets a chance to actually attack, if you can increase your survivability, it's amazing. And I don't think there's really too many other words for what Noor's going to bring to the table, honestly. It's going to be amazing. She is a very powerful medic for sure. If we look at her upgrades at grade 1, she gets 30% max HP boost. At grade 2, she gets the first half of Spirit. At grade 3, she's going to get the second half of the max HP boost, so she's going to have huge amounts of HP. At grade 4, she's going to get the Always Prepared, where she's going to receive 30% of her max HP, so it isn't like a chance to receive the 70%. This actually makes her more powerful here. At grade 5, she's going to get the 40% chance to heal one other teammate for 50% of their max HP, so it is going to be the 50% still, but it's going to be a 40% chance instead of 80, and this is where the limit breaks are going to come in just to make those percentages go up a little higher. You're going to see Spirit 2 come in at LB1, Always Prepared 2 come in at LB2, making it 70% of her max HP at the beginning of wave and turn that she'll heal. And then Staying Alive 2 comes in and stacks in an 80% chance for that 50% heal. It is worth noting that Always Prepared is going to also give her bonus HP based on those heals as well. So like for instance, if she had 1 HP and she was to heal for 70% of her HP, she wouldn't proc her overheal 2 because she's not overhealing, it's not going over her max HP, but she still give 20% of whatever her 70% of her HP was. So if 70% of her HP was 70,000, she'd give herself 14,000 bonus HP based on that alone, without doing overheal. So she's going to always increase her survivability that way, which is obviously really powerful. It also works at the beginning of the turn. It also works at the beginning of the wave. That's why you saw the bonus HP proccing multiple times, because it was the initial bonus HP proc off the 70%, and then it was the extra bonus HP proc because she actually healed someone and the 20% came in. I think this kit is working very nice as a medic. It's going to be susceptible to obviously damage dealers who do damage against bonus HP, and there are characters that can fully remove bonus HP very quickly. I'm thinking of like characters like Ronaldo. It's going to increase their value quite a lot. If you picked up Ronaldo in the previous war season, you're going to be looking at potential usages there for sure. There are other characters I believe that remove bonus HP. Maybe Easter Eva does remove bonus HP, so there are definitely some counters out there, but there's going to be a lot of bonus HP around on Noor teams for sure. And it's not too hard to get her HP up, as I showed. You could get her HP up much higher than that as well. That was an unupgraded Jesus pistol, so it was only 35% HP. And like I say, no mods. Because her base HP is so high, if you put mods on her at HP base, it's just going to raise it even more. Maybe it's a bit overkill. Maybe you do want to kind of raise her defense, kind of like my Peacekeeper guide, where too much HP isn't necessarily beneficial. Raising that defense can be quite important as well. Now, even if you don't pick up the Battle Pass, you're still going to get a very powerful character just because you get the guaranteed 30% heal on Always Prepared by grade 5. So even as a grade 5 character, she could potentially still be usable because she just instantly increases the survivability of other defense team characters. Now, we've seen her passives proccing with the specialist skill, and her specialist skill is overheal 2. I'll just read it. If this character were to be healed over 100% HP, this character and all teammates get bonus HP equal to 50% of the amount healed over that 100% HP, regardless of any heal reduction affecting those teammates. However, if heal reduction is on Noor, it will reduce the amount of HP she gets healed. So for instance, if I have 50% reduction on Noor, she'll get 35% healing at the beginning of her own turn, and then it will be, what's that, 17,500 healing that she's giving bonus HP, because it's half of that over her max HP instead of 35%. So you can reduce the amount of outgoing healing from overheal 2, but you've got to focus Noor with that heal reduction. It's just worth noting, but it's still going to be really high. 17,500 bonus HP is still going to be pretty decent. Now, there are a lot of combo teams that you've probably seen with Davy to try and get this to proc turn 1. There's quite a lot of things you've got to do. You've got to have certain weapons on Davy. You've got to have certain other like fast characters with particular weapons to make this actually happen. But Noor has it all in one kit. Noor has it all work in one kit. She's going to be everywhere. She's going to be everywhere. She's going to be grade 5 everywhere. She's going to be LB3 everywhere. And I'm going to go ahead and say that this is probably going to be one of the most used Battle Pass characters in Mythic Era without a doubt. Now we'll just move on to the weapon. She doesn't have an attached weapon. You can obviously come up with whatever you want to use in her hands. She doesn't have like any sort of special weapon on her art, so I don't think we're going to see anything, you know, crazy there. We could potentially see like a Noor's pistol in the future, but there's nothing to kind of work out how that's potentially going to look. You could potentially use a alert buffs weapon on her because she's going to have so much HP. She's got heavy survivability just in her own kit, and that way she can buff her other teammates as long as she's alive. And it'll be kind of very slow to focus her first. You're going to be wanting to nuke her teammates and maybe just nuke her down last. So it's going to be kind of interesting to figure out how to deal with this character. Like I say, lots of bonus HP. Like I said, do you go for her first? Do you go for her last? She's not too problematic by herself, but then if she does get that rush off, then some, you know, kill potential comes in, and 120,000 HP is what I got to without even trying. So I think you can get up to like 140, 150k potentially, and suddenly that 20% trauma is going to be like 30,000 trauma. Nasty. So that was Gold Mythic Noor, and I'm definitely saying that this is a more powerful character than Angel, and Angel was honestly like an elite level character when she was first released. Noor is going to have much better longevity. I think that Angel basically lasted like a month and a half to maybe 2 months before people fully worked her out and, you know, have got a pretty decent approach on how to take those teams out. Noor is going to be more of a problem. She is, you know, got some counters out there when it comes to removing bonus HP and stuff like that, but she brings it up every turn. This is the issue. You know, you remove all the bonus HP, the next turn it's all back. So yeah, she's going to be very problematic. I think a lot of people are going to be happy having her on her, you know, their teams, but they're going to be not so happy actually attacking that character. It's reminding me of like 6-star Eric. Everyone's going to be cheering for this character going on their own teams, but when they come up against them, yikes. Yikes. Visually pretty basic. I will say out of the Mythic characters, she's one of the more basic looking characters, but I think she looks actually pretty cool. I like the high vis jacket. You don't get too many of those in the zombie apocalypse for various reasons, I guess. But yeah, I all round, I think that Noor is a great character and definitely worth the Battle Pass, $20 to pick her up. And we'll have to see what actual weapon comes with the Battle Pass. Maybe it's going to be a weapon that's actually going to work in Noor's hands. We'll have to wait and see. But that is the end of my video, guys. If you have any thoughts on Noor, please leave them in the comments down below. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.